Welcome back again. The short.
You continue, sir. Yes, sir. You continue.
Okay, sir. Okay. So welcome back after the short break. Now we can continue with the stage product specifications. Yes. So the objective of this stage is to set the target specifications of the product by referring the customer need, what I discussed earlier. And the customer need is always expressed in his own language. And based on that need, we can prepare the documents and we can prepare the records. And how systematically do that stages? We have to prepare a need metric chart. The need metric chart is a systematic approach to relate the customer need and the product characteristics. So the product characteristics are nothing but the features in the product. So each and every feature of the product should made towards the need of the customer. This can be easily done by forming the need metric chart. By referring that chart, you can target the specifications of the product at the end of the analysis. See here, I will give you an example. It is actually a bicycle. In that bicycle, now the task is to design the front fork. The front fork. So the front fork design is the task now. In order to design that fork, we have to acquire the customer needs. See, these are all the customer needs in the suspension system of that bicycle. So what are actually the need people expect in the suspension system of a bicycle? It should reduces the vibration to the hands. It allows easy travel of slow and difficult terrain. In that way, nearly 20 number of requirements this company collected from the customer side to design the suspension system of the bicycle. Not only for the suspension system, for each and every part of the bicycle, not only bicycle, all the products, we have to collect the customer need. And based on that need only, we have to prepare the particular part of the product. Here they listed out the various ideologies and requirements of the customers towards the suspension system of the bicycle. And based on their severity, they given the mark here. See, IMP is nothing but importance. So reduces vibration to the hands is 3. And enables high-speed descents and the bumpy trails is most important. That's why they awarded 5. In that way, the mark mentioned in each side of every need shows its severity. See, it's easy to install. It's not much important point. That's why they giving mark only 1 for that need. In that way, each and every need is awarded with its mark based on its severity. And then see here, the need number, everything here we got 1, 2, 3 up to the 20. And how these needs are achieved by using the technology available with the supplier. See, the need 1 and 3 can be achieved by attention from dropout to handlebar at 10 Hertz. By using this specification in the manufacturing of the product, you can satisfy the need number 1 and 3. So need number 1 and 3 can be achieved by this specification. In the same way, each and every need can be achieved by a various technical recommendation of the product for the preparation. Some ideas can satisfy more than one need. That also happen. And the important number also listed here. And these are nothing but the scientific units. So in that way, metric is nothing but how we are going to achieve the particular need. And need, as we know, the requirement on the particular product. In that way, after that, we have to form this chart. This chart is the important part in this stage, need and metric chart. In that need and metric chart, every needs are mentioned in this axis, and all the achievement or all the design recommendations are listed in that columns. So each and every column will find a row, particular row. Here you can see no row is here without matching with any column. So in that case, you can assure that we addressed all the customer need by the specification of our product. So in that way only, you can set the specifications of your product. then only you can assure I satisfied or I addressed all the requirements of the customer before the manufacturing of my product. So these things are not only related to the manufacturing of products. If you want to provide any service to the general public, then also you can follow this approach in order to give a fruitful product or fruitful service. And the next stage is product concept. Just to be identified what are all the various specifications we are going to have in our product. And each and every part or each and every specification of the product is going to operate under a scientific concept. Then only our product will become a scientific product. So for that, we have to find the apt technology for the particular part in the product. See, in that, what we are actually going to do is, we are going to identify the existing technology, which is more apt to serve a particular specification in the product. First, we need to generate the concept and select the concept and test the concept. As an example, I will show here for the preparation of energy storage service for a mobile phone, maybe for a mobile phone. If you want to prepare the energy storage system for the mobile phone, we can plan for a battery. But this should be evolved in this way. Energy storage is the specification. For that, what are all the possible technologies are available? Even by nuclear technology, electrical technology, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical. So these are all the available technologies. This is nothing but generation of the concept. All these scientific concepts are able to provide energy storage. But for our product, which is more up, we can go for electrical, because hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical, and nuclear energy sources are not suitable for the mobile phone. So we can go for the electrical technology. In particular, which way? Wall outlet or battery or fuel cell? We can go for battery cell, because phone is a mobile device. We have to carry it without any wire connection or without any wall socket connection. So we can prefer for the battery. So in this way, you have to generate the concepts, select the concept, and then you can go for testing the concept. So each and every specification of your product is going to work based on a scientific concept. That concept should be developed in this way. And you have to select the proper concept. And this chart will give you the idea on how the concept is generated at the first. Numerous number of concepts will be considered for the selection. After that, with the proper brainstorming session, we are going to screen the entire concepts based on some requirement, based on some other environmental factors. We need to neglect some concept. And then after that, some concepts will be in the last stage, that is very suitable for the product. And then after testing, we can select the one and only for our product. In that way, we have to spend this much of effort to find the optimum solution for the product. And the next is design. Whenever you go and ask our children or ask our graduates for developing a new product, the first stage what they mention is design a product. This is the reason for their failure. Actually, the design the product is an intermediate stage. If you bypass these 4 stages in a new product development process, definitely the remaining 4 stages will become a damn failure. Because without concept, specification, customer need, and opportunity, if you design a product, the design will become the outdated design or the design which is not required for the particular application. So after practicing all these 4 stages, we can go for designing the product. So designing the product is nothing but, before that, we have to be very clear with the term design. Actually, design is nothing but not only the outlook of the product, it's also referring the technical features of the product. It acts towards the utility, it acts towards the appearance, it acts towards the maintenance and the low cost also. So these are all the various objectives we have to handle at the time of designing a product. And then we can classify the design of a product based on 2 ways in view of new product development process. technology-driven products and user-driven products. Technology-driven products are nothing but the product's core ideology is based on only the technology for that it is going to be used. And the user-driven products are completely targeting to impress the human being, not to utilize the technology. So this is nothing but the two different extremities of the design. Technology-driven products and the user-driven products. The example is given in the slide itself. A computer hard disk drive need not to have a particular color. It's actually a technology-based product. Whatever the color, whatever the make, if it is having the particular technological eligibilities, it can act as a hard disk. And in the case of the office chair, we look some aesthetic look and appearance rather than the ergonomic design nowadays. So it's nothing but the user-driven product. One more example I can show you. Here you can see the outfit of a human being. The one is the corona safety coat and another one is a fancy shirt. The first one, it's completely targeted on the safety of the human being from the environment, maybe from virus or anything else. There you need not to worry about the color. There you need not to worry about whether it is a slim fit or pencil fit or whatever it may be. There you are considering only the safety towards the outside microorganisms. So it is nothing but the technology-driven product. But you see here, it's a party wear shirt. If you want to go for purchasing a shirt for a wedding or a special occasion, you need not to consider about the material, the durability, the cost or anything else. You need to consider only the look of the shirt before buying it. It's user-driven product. No, nothing here considered beyond the user taste. Okay, so these are the two design extremities generally. And you have to be sure what kind of design you are going to follow for the preparation of your product. Whether you are going beyond the user or going beyond the technology, that you have to finalize first. But no product is completely user-driven or completely technology-driven. Definitely, these two things will be there, but which is dominating among the two is decides which kind of product it is. And then design types. Here we discussed about the classification. Here we are going to discuss the types. There is a lot of difference between the terms classification and the type. So what are the various types of design is available? Maybe original design, adaptive design, and variant design. Original design is nothing but it involves the elaborating a new and novel solution for the given task. For example, if you want to prepare the automobile brakes, is nothing but the original design. Adaptive design is nothing but the value added original design. So if you want to prepare an anti-lock brakes, it's nothing but a value added version of the existing brake with some special features developed for a particular application. If you enhance the existing design, it is nothing but the adaptive design. And variant design is nothing but the scale up and scale down of the existing design. Maybe the brake is specified, developed for the truck. The same concept of brake can be developed for the bike or developed for the car. Maybe the scale is different, but the concept is same, which is nothing but the variant design. So in this kind, these are all the various types of designs. And before you design any product, you have to consider these two things seriously. You have to design for the environment and you have to design for the manufacturing. So if you failed to consider any one in them, definitely at the end of the designing process, your product will face many issues. You have to prepare a product which is not harming the environment. It should not deplete the natural resources like water, air, or land. So without depleting these resources, you have to prepare a product. You have to design the product. At least you can minimize the depletion if possible. And design for manufacturing is you should not design a product which is not able to manufacture with the physical material. So you have to consider which kind of manufacturing process is going to follow, and based on that, you have to design the product. And the next stage is prototyping. Prototyping, generally understood by the students, a sample. It's not just a sample. It's also a sample, but a lot of things we have to know in the term prototype. Actually, prototype is an approximation of the product. along with one or more dimensions of interest. And prototyping is the process of developing the models or samples of the product. We can consider two different aspects in the prototypes. And in the first aspect, physical and analytical. Second aspect is comprehensive and focused. Without seeing the examples, it's not made to understand the terms. Let me go with the examples. See, I listed two different prototypes here. Physical prototype and analytical prototype, which are all coming under the first aspect, physical and analytical. Physical prototypes are nothing but, see here, in the first example, a backpack is prepared with a chart first. It is actually not bag. It looks like, but it not works like. So this kind of prototype is physical prototype. So how the product will be look in the end of the production, how it is used by the customer at the end of the production can be seen at the before the manufacturing by means of this kind of samples. This kind of prototypes are physical prototype, and these kind of prototypes are analytical prototype. See here in designing of bridges or any civil structure or mechanical elements, nowadays people are using some analytical softwares. In the software, yes. Anything else?
You can continue now, sir. You can continue. Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry for it.
So, no problem, sir. No problem. Analytical prototypes are nothing but before manufacturing a particular physical product, the researchers will develop the same in the computer softwares with some modeling packages, and they applied the actual load virtually. So by using these analytical softwares, we can predict the strength of the particular elements while we are going to use them. So before manufacturing, we can predict the strength and other parameters of a particular product. This will help you to minimize the errors in the future. So these kind of virtual prototypes are called as analytical prototypes. And the next
உங்களுக்கு எது வாங்கணுமா எல்லாத்துக்கும் இல்ல உனக்கு ஒரு செட் வாங்க.
It's okay.
Sorry for interrupting, sir. You can continue. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So the third one is comprehensive prototype. Comprehensive prototypes are the trial pieces manufactured by the manufacturers before sending it to the customer, and they want to test the usage of the products. See, this kind of mobile phones are not in the market nowadays, but it is prepared by the manufacturers already, and they are in the trial use. So before the mass production, they are preparing the actual product in very small scale and test them whether they will hit the market or not. If they came to know they won't hit the market, they need not to produce it in much manner. And the focused prototypes are nothing but works like prototype, but not looks like. See here, a strong connection between this one and that one. This is nothing but a model of an IC engine. It is having the linkages and all the systems which is an actual engines are having. It will looks like the system, and sometimes it will work like the system, but it cannot replace the actual system. So this kind of prototypes are focused prototypes. So by analyzing the various things in them, we can categorize a particular prototype into a particular part. And I think there is no need of discussing much about these things. We can go for the next stage, robust design. Robust design is nothing but enhancing the design process. See, what is the use of the prototyping process? The prototypes are developed and they are tested for the usability. When we are testing the prototype, definitely we will find some errors in our design. So these kind of errors can be enhanced in the stage of robust design by considering the errors identified during the testing. So robust design stage is nothing but minimizing the errors or vanishing out the errors happened in the design stage by testing the prototypes. And then finally, we can go for the IPR. IPR is nothing but intellectual property rights. So nowadays, it's a globalized technology we are using. So whatever the new product you are launching into the market, we should assure the safety of the product. Safety in the sense, what I can say, we should prevent our product from the illegal production and usage by our competitors. This can be done by protecting our product in the form of intellectual property rights scheme in all over the world, and then we can assure the safety of the product in the market. So this can be found in the various forms. Lot of forms are there in the intellectual properties. If you are going to protect the physical products, you can go for patenting. If you are going to protect the appearance of a particular product, you can go for design patent. And if you want to protect a particular plant variety, you can go for plant variety protection. And the same way, trademark, copyright, trade secret, everything are coming under the intellectual property. And the purpose of having the intellectual property right is to protect our product and prevent the copying of our technology by others. Others in the sense, whoever, maybe the competitor or anyone else. So these are all the various things we needed to consider, we needed to cross when you're supposed to prepare the new product. And these are all the things I planned to discuss with you all today. And these are all some references I made. I referred the books, these books for the preparation of these contents. And now let me to conclude the session. And it's time for you. You can ask any questions from this session.
All participants, you can ask any questions. Shankar sir, your presentations went satisfied with all. So no more any questions, I think.
So hopefully I made some of your time maybe useful in today's evening. And thanks for the opportunity for discussing these things. And if anything you want to discuss in this regard, you can contact anytime, through Mr. Sankarnarayan sir. He's having my contact details and everything.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Salim sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes. You can give me water tanks, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Shankar.
Salim sir, you have. Yes.
Sir, it's audible?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. It was our pleasure to have you today as a guest speaker. We had a wonderful session today on the topic of product development with examples and process of innovation. You exactly differentiated the difference between innovations and the with the aspect of commercial things and the market survey inventions. So definitely, as you said, we are definitely lacking in the innovations. Actually, invention is there. We are now doing commercialization. So it will be helpful to come out with the formula invention plus commercialization. So very nice, wonderful session. We learned a lot about new product and understanding the opportunities and developing a concept and implementing the concept. All those things are, and really it was a very nice, wonderful session. Definitely we have to do with the market survey a lot. So that's what we understand. So it was a very wonderful, nice session, sir. Thank you. Kindly accepted our gratitude on behalf of Tamil Nadu Career Counseling Association, and behalf of President and Founder, all the founding members as well, sir. So kindly accept our gratitude. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you very much for your appreciation, Dr. Salim, sir. I'm also grateful to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to discuss these things with you all. And I wish all the best to you and your team for your future growth. Thank you very much. And thank you especially Sankar Narayan sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for a wonderful session.